Okay, here we go again, people. All right. I guess it's going to be withdrawal episode number 8. I don't even know if I should be doing this video right now because, as I touched upon in the prescriber episode number 8, which I made yesterday, the sleep is still an ongoing problem. Gee, how many thousands of times have I said that over the past year, right? So, I don't know. I'm not sure how coherent I'm going to come across. I don't know. I only slept, I don't know, or 3.5 hours. I don't know, maybe 4. I don't know. But and actually, I may throw 1 or 2 questions out, maybe for a little feedback or input, if some of my viewers out here might be kind enough to share their thoughts or comments about sleep. But no, for instance, I'm trying to think. This is Saturday here that I'm doing this, and I really haven't slept much since Tuesday night. Okay, so that's 4 nights now. Last night was the worst. And, I hate to sound so morbid. You know how I am, but you know how I get. I mean, it's like you just get this prolonged sleep problem. I don't know. I know I've said this before. I really don't know how much longer I can, my body can continue holding out. I don't know, but of course, not only but the body, but the mind. I mean, everything just kind of feels like it's collapsing. And of course that's how you get when you're sleep deprived, and as I said last time, I'm not gonna go back up on zyprexa. So I don't know, kids. So like I said, we're going to touch upon a couple of sleep-related things I'd like to run by you. Now, I mentioned Tuesday night. Okay, I haven't slept much since Tuesday night. Now, because as you know, I don't get out much. All right, and when I do, I'm just not for long. And I mean, I have other health issues. I mean, to tell you the truth, my heart is not exactly up to factory specs. All right. I do have a family history of heart problems, but also, I mean, I can tell you back, going back to '99 when I started on zyprexa. I mean, that was kind of like the time frame when my stamina, began to just go downhill, and I mean, seriously, I mean, if I can go out for a 10 or 15 minute walk, I mean, I'm lucky if I can do that. All right, so but stamina wise, I may have said this before. Even just, well, it was like roughly 18 months after I started going on psych meds full time, which was fall of 1990, and then in 1992, that's when I started feeling, the life and the stamina and just starting to diminish, and I know this happens. This is what I like to call the little dark, dirty secret, of these medications, because the longer, and I know I've said this before. I know I'm repeating myself in another episode, but no, I mean the prolonged use, it just, I don't know if it's the metabolism or what it is, but it just eats away at the body's life force, really, so and as the old saying goes, life would never be the same as far as energy wise goes. I One thing I want to throw out here is I can remember, this was probably back in the late 90s. Back at that time, going back 15 years ago, I really had no or not much knowledge of bipolar, okay? And I remember around that time saying to Ms. Malpractice, running this by her about me possibly being bipolar, and I mean, I remember, in fact, I may have said this on 2 different appointments, but I mean, I do remember, saying this to her, just throwing it out for discussion, and of course, she completely dismissed it. Where have I said that line before, right? See, again, notice the ongoing trend. It's one dismissal after another, right? And I remember her saying, I guess the kind of the classic. Well, I don't know if it's the classic mood or energy level or a combination of both. I mean, she described it as like valleys, ups and downs, highs and lows, and I think in fact, I remember back then saying I felt, just more lows, than highs, but I mean, and I've heard, stories of, I guess when people are on the highs, I mean, they can get, really wild and out of control, I guess. I don't know, but the more I think about this, and I'm going to tie this into to the sleep aspect in a moment, but I mean, as far as highs and lows and such, I mean, the more I think about it, that's what my life really is, So I guess, I don't know if you want to, refer to me as an undiagnosed bipolar, or misdiagnosed, whatever, but as far as sleep goes, I mean, what I'm wondering is, what I was saying earlier about going out Tuesday night for a walk, and and by the way, from an agoraphobic perspective, all right, I very much prefer to venture out at night. No, I am not a vampire, but no, the reason I go is because there's less traffic, fewer people. If that makes any kind of sense. Just life is at a slower pace. And combine that with fewer people, like I said. And see, one of my greatest fears is having a panic attack or collapsing in the street or a store, and by going out at night, it's like it's almost as if the darkness of night like gives me a veil of protection from the rest of society and people, so if anybody can relate to that, by all means, feel free to just say, yep, that's me as well, but and actually on a related getting sidetracked here, on a related thought about nights. Of course, I if I'm not mistaken, we have a full moon coming up on Monday night, I think. So, again, anybody with any full moon comments, feel free to roll them by me. No, I mean, typically, I would say that for me, well, each month we have the full moon. Typically, there's like a good 85 to 90% chance I will not sleep for about 4 or sleep much at all, 4 to 5 days leading up to the night of the full moon. Okay, so I'm very serious about that. I mean, it happens, like I said, a good 80 to 90%. I mean, you can almost, count on it. And because I remember, I guess that might have been Tuesday night. In fact, it was, and I just had a rotten time getting to sleep, and I thought, I was like, oh no, don't tell me we have the full moon coming up. And I looked at the calendar, and sure enough, it's like 5 days off, and so I don't know. I mean, I know as silly as that may sound, perhaps that's a influence and contributing reason why I am sleeping rotten. But going back to the bipolar aspect, and the question I want to ask is, so, and as I said, I had gone out that walk Tuesday. It was around 9:00 at night, and whenever, well, for starters, whenever I do, have a rare, decent night of sleep, I have to make the most of that because of my, declining energy and stamina. And so if I have a fairly decent night, then I got to, get stuff done during the day and try not to lie down, and spend 14 hours a day in bed, as I had done for many years on zyprexa, all right? But what will happen, what I was going to say is, so I'll do things during the day, if I had a good night, and then chances are, okay, when night comes again, okay, it's like, I mean, I'll be up late, and again, most likely I'll only sleep 4 hours. Okay, so what I'm trying to figure out here is, and by the way, this is nothing new. I mean, I have had this kind of reaction probably, I don't know, 20 years, at least 10, maybe 20, I don't know. But so I mean, it's kind of a paradox. I mean, I have a good night, and so I have to do something with, the energy that I have from getting a decent night's sleep, but then that just throws everything into, chaos. So, for the following night, and so, like I said, this week I just can't sleep much at all. I can't, break the pattern that I'm in currently, and so what I'm wondering now is about possibly being bipolar. Now, I'm just curious to know, anybody watching, or, Fabio, if you're watching this, I mean, I would definitely enjoy hearing your thoughts. If and by the way, I am also a Leo, just so you know. So I'd like to think I'm in good company. Okay, all right. But seriously, what I'm wondering is, I mean, is it a classic sleep disturbance pattern about either getting a good night's sleep or a lot of in physical activity, and then it just seems to throw your sleep pattern way off. I mean, so I don't know if anybody can relate to that. And we have motorcycles going by today. Isn't that wonderful, right? Just what you need on 3.5 hours sleep, right? But so like I said, I mean, I just didn't know if anybody could relate to that, or on the it's kind of like a total imbalance of sleep, of from having a great night to having a disastrous night, or a sequence of bad nights, one after another. And so I don't know if that's classic bipolar or not. And now of course, I mean, what is actually causing it? Of course, as we know, our wizards of psychiatry, call that a chemical imbalance. But, I mean, but as we know, that's never been scientifically proven. So it's like, well, what's causing it? I mean, why can't I sleep? And if I have, and apparently, like, I have to drug myself up if I want to get any sleep. But I took some Xanax during the middle of the night when I was awake around 3, and actually I did take just a tiniest amount of zyprexa as well, and didn't do a thing, so I don't know, people, but so that's one thing I wanted to throw out as far as the sleep issue goes. And what else can I say here? I also just wanted to say, I had mentioned, if you caught the prescriber episode number 8 that I made yesterday, I had mentioned about having a recent flare-up, anxiety flare-up, and actually it was about just about a month ago, in early March, I forced myself basically to go out in a car for the first time in a year, and I'll just tell you, I'll try to be quick about this. I wound up going to my regular doctor. You might recall back a couple months ago, they'd sent me the letter saying that, they would only continue seeing me if I got my ass in there to their office. So I did it. And then I wound up 2 days later going to a dentist appointment, which I was not planning on. I mean, it was totally unplanned, and I mean, to be honest, I had not, it's been a very, very long time since I'd ever, had gone to a dentist appointment, but so like I said, those appointments were 2 days apart. I was at the regular doctor for about a good hour and a half, and then I was at the dentist for like a total of like 2.5 hours, almost. And in with a regular first appointment, I mean, I made out reasonably well, and in fact, even, and of course I had been there before, but many years ago. But then when I went to this dentist for first time I'd ever been there, into a different part of town that I haven't even traveled to in 20 years, and it was just totally amazing, much to my surprise. I mean, especially with the dental appointment, I mean, I basically aced it. Very little panic, and I mean, I got in there, and then I started talking with like the assistant or whatever. Hit it off very well, and we were chatting about psych meds and all that stuff, and and I mean, I just couldn't believe I managed to wing it, and actually I'm just going to try moving the webcam a little bit because it looks like I'm starting to get a little out of sync here because of the lighting. So let me just see what happens if I whoops. All right, I'm not sure if that's better or worse. That's worse. All right, so let me try the other window. All right, well, I think we're out of luck here, so actually, let me just try one more time. Let me see if I can readjust it. Whoops. Maybe sometimes if I can reset it, Okay, I guess we're going to have to go with that. Is that any better? All right, well, I just hate that blinding sun coming in, but we'll just try this once again here. All right, well, now you see I don't know. Sorry about this, people. All right. I just didn't want you to think I was having an earthquake here, but, all right. As perfectionists, we have to, everything's got to be perfect, you know, all or nothing, no black or white. You know, or I should say, all or nothing. You know, everything is black and white, and no gray in the middle, so to speak. But all right, sorry about the distraction there. But so, like I said, I mean, I aced the appointments. Now, it's important to keep in mind that looks like my voice is out of sync again. Damn it. All right, but I mean, no, because I had been getting a lot of pain, running through my, problem with the tooth and running up the jaw, up to the temple, and so I wound up having these 2 appointments. Then, of course, I was getting a lot of anticipation of anxiety going out, and how am I going to manage? How am I going to wing it? And I'm going to give this one more shot. Sorry, but I know I have the best results if I aim it toward the window, the side window here. Oops, not having an earthquake. Sorry about that. All right, now see, I hate it when it's that dark, but it's either that or got to be jaggedy, and I don't like the jagged motion here. So but it's like I said, it's a lot of anxiety, and of course I was taking my blood pressure a lot, and I hadn't slept much. Blood pressure was up like 140 over 100. I mean, it was running high on a regular basis, and basically running on adrenaline. And I mean, when I think back, I can't believe I was able to endure both appointments, and then the day after I went to the dentist, I got up in the morning, and then I just I hadn't slept much, 6 hours if that, but I wound up, I got up, and like I said, and then I was up for a little while, and I just got very weak. Not that I was going to, lose consciousness or anything like that, but I just got very weak that I just like had to, lie down, immediately. And, of course, I mean, like I said, I rest a lot as it is, but this was different. And what was really weird, when this happened, I actually took my blood pressure again, and it was 100 over 70. I was like, wait a minute, what's going on here? Now, I mean, to the rest of humanity, that's a wonderful number, but to go from 140 over 100 down to 100 over 70, something's not right there. So, but that kind of began a sequence of events of precipitating panic attacks, and when I had that weakness episode, I mean, most likely what happened, that was my body's way of saying, Paul, you are fucking exhausted. You've got to rest, right? So, and then, I mean, just as other things happened, I don't know, just between, I don't know, I was getting a bit of a, I mean, it's not easy being a hypochondriac, that, all right? I was getting a little bit of a nosebleed issue, and then, so that just instilled more panic, and now I don't know if you want to, I don't know if this is directly related to going to the dentist and being told that I have to have a tooth removed, but now in the past, in especially in the past 6 months, I mean, I have had, because I touched upon that last time, remember I told you about the swallowing issues and in the throat, and so that's been a problem, and then And then, if that wasn't bad enough, just to give you a better idea how my nervous system is fried, I guess. I would not only get sensation on the throat, but even like just a couple inches below the Adam's apple, down here, I would actually get like a pins and needles sensation in my throat. All right, and of course I've had this, with the numbness, up my lip, nose, and scalp, as I've told you. I mean, even into an eye. Just imagine like little pins and needles sensation. Kind of. And I mean that's not psychosomatic. I mean that's the nervous system is screwed up. All right. And again, I never had this extent and magnitude of chronic numbness and pins and needles until I began the withdrawal process 2 years ago. All right, so sorry, it's getting a bit dark here. Let me just okay. Let's see if I can increase the light here a bit. Let me try this. Or is that going to throw me off? All right. Well, I guess that's not too bad, but so I don't know. It's kind of been a nerve-wracking month, so to speak, ever since I made that President's Day video. And by the way, if you're wondering about him in the background, apparently he's, I guess, feeling a bit camera shy today, and he's turning his back to us, I guess, but he's still around, But anyway, I don't know. Like I said, I'm as far as the sleep situation goes, I just I don't know when it's going to break. I mean, I have, if I haven't mentioned, I mean, over the years, I mean, I have had bouts with insomnia which have lasted like a good 2 months. So hoping this one doesn't last that long. But all right. But anyway, so I don't know. I it's just so hard to concentrate when you're sleep deprived, as you know, and of course, to make matters worse, it's like, I don't know if you want to chalk this up to the dopamine, but it's like trying to sleep. It's really weird, and I'm trying to think what I was going to say. I actually had this past week, back on Monday, I was actually supposed to have another dentist appointment, and I really wasn't feeling right. I was just because the prior times I've gone out, of course I have to load myself up on Xanax and the beta blocker, Nadolol, so my heart doesn't race out of control, and trying to keep my nerves in check. But back on Monday, it's like, and even the day before, I was just feeling just really, weak, and just, and I just didn't feel like, I wasn't sure if I was going to go through with that appointment on Monday, and what happened was because I don't know if I've told you, apparently this is not the way it's supposed to be when taking Xanax, but when I take that, or Klonopin, or whatever, I mean, it usually takes like at least 2 hours, and I'm quite sure I've told you the story before. I mean, it takes a good 2 hours for it to kick in, and I know, people, one in particular who comes to mind. I mean, I remember years ago, she would tell me, she could feel it kick in within 10 to 15 minutes. Like, well, it takes 2 hours for me before I feel anything. So, on the counter anxiety perspective, standpoint, I really have to plan ahead, and it's the same thing with the beta blocker. I mean, that typically takes a good hour or two to kick in as well. So even as I just touched my throat right now, see, I'm getting that pins that it's just kind of like this weird sensation, pins and needles or whatever it is, and to tell you the truth, this lately this pins and needles thing seems to be spreading. So I mean through other parts of my body, and seriously, I mean I have at one point or another experienced it, that or numbness. I mean literally anywhere from head to toe, and of course sometimes I wonder if it is perhaps related to being so sleep deprived. I have no idea. But so I don't know. Trying to think. I know probably a few other things I was going to say, but I guess I'm not going to get around to it. And that was a quick half hour, so I don't know, but I guess what I'm going to do is wrap it up right now in somebody wants to say hello to you, and let's see if he's going. I don't think he's going to be too shy. Oh, it's Triumph. Hello, Triumph. Now, all right. Look, I'm just trying to have a little fun, and just a little humor. Okay, so don't be camera shy. All right. Now, I don't know, Triumph. I hope you're gonna, not get too nasty on us here, because we have a reputation to keep up, because I know you have a dirty mouth, and I do too, and sometimes these things can't be helped. But so I hope you, he's been sitting alongside here, kind of watching me making a fool out of myself as usual, but just look at that face, I don't know, but so I am a cat person, but but this just cracks me up, but so anyway, Triumph, he's gonna take that side, I guess. He looks better there. Oh, there he goes. But so I'm not sure if he enjoyed watching me do this, or if he found this to be informative and enjoyed it. I don't know, but was it a waste of time, or what do you think, Triumph? Do you have anything to say for yourself?
No, this is great. I haven't had this much fun since the doctor chopped my nut off.
Triumph, come on, that wasn't very nice. Shh, naughty boy. All right, people. But just wanted to, just wanted to crack a little joke. All right, but of course it'd be interesting to know if the neighbors can overhear that. That'd be kind of funny, right? So hopefully I'm not going to drop dead in the interim, and one way or another I'll see you again soon. All right, so I'll, like I said, see you soon. Thanks.